Ange Postecoglou backs Rangers in Europe. Yes, you heard that right. The former Celtic boss finally admitting who the real European force is. And Pröpper's bags are packed, but he still needs to think about leaving? Spare me. And Panathinaikos, terrified to sell anyone before facing the famous. They're shaking already. You want truth without varnish? You want someone to say what the press won't dare print? Then hit that subscribe button now. Because while the media massages Celtic's ego, we're tearing through the smoke and naming names. This isn't coverage, this is a reckoning. Rangers sign a player, give him a proper shot, and just when it's time to knuckle down and show commitment, off he trots back to his comfort zone. Pröpper, the Dutch defender who barely made a ripple at Ibrox, is now being paraded like the prodigal son in Enschede. And you're meant to feel sentimental, give me peace. Rangers brought Pröpper in with hopes. Not sky-high hopes, but expectations of a bit of grit, a bit of leadership. What did we get? Silence. A body in the squad. And now FC Twente, who binned him in the first place, are suddenly rolling out the red carpet and calling it a homecoming. The so-called deal in principle, €1.5 million, or in proper terms, about £1,270,000, tells you everything. Pennies, absolute pennies. You'd get more selling a food truck outside Ibrox on match day. And what's holding it up? Apparently Robin himself needs to decide if he fancies going back. Needs to reflect. Reflect on what? His contribution here would fit on a post-it. And then comes the classic line, final decision lies with him. Because players run the show now, don't they? Not the badge, not the club, certainly not the support. Just let the player dither while we wait, hands tied, looking daft. Meanwhile, you know fine well, if this was the other mob, if it was Celtic flogging a squad player back to Holland, the media would be calling it a masterstroke, a smart bit of business. But with Rangers, it's framed as some tragic will he won't he drama, nauseating. When did Rangers become a rest stop for players looking for an exit plan? Well, look who's piping up from across the Aegean with a touch of sense for once. Ange Postecoglou, the man who once strutted around Glasgow like he'd reinvented the game, now standing on Greek soil, giving it a Rangers are always strong in Europe. Ange, we've been trying to tell you that for years, but back then you were too busy smirking in pressers and defending Celtic's latest Greek tragedy in Europe. Now, after getting booted from Spurs, after winning a European trophy, mind you, which tells you everything about how ruthless football really is, he's gone back to his roots and suddenly remembers who actually carries Scotland's name in Europe. Yes, Rangers, not Celtic, not the champions, not the Invincibles, Rangers. You know, the club that's played in a Europa League final more recently than Celtic managed a quarterfinal. The club that walks into hostile stadiums across the continent and doesn't collapse like a paper bag. Panathinaikos are being warned, loud and clear. And Ange, whether he meant to or not, has just added a bit of pressure to their shoulders. They're already twitchy, rejecting an £8.5 million bid from Sporting Lisbon for their full-back Giorgos Vayannidis because they don't want any disruption before facing Rangers. Imagine that. Scared to cash in just in case their best lad is missing when he's needed most. That's what we do. That's the weight Rangers carry in Europe. We don't just show up, we change plans. We rattle boards. We make them hold on to players they'd sell tomorrow if they were playing anyone else. But let's not get misty-eyed. This isn't a love letter from Ange. He still slips in the wee jab. Rangers are behind Celtic in Scotland. Alright, tell that to Braga, Leipzig, Real Betis, PSV. Domestic positions don't mean a thing when the European lights come on. And you know that, Ange, you know it. So, here's the kicker. If even Postecoglou is backing Rangers in Europe, what excuse do the rest of them have for doubting us? If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.